Hello and welcome back to the finish line. So this week, before we get started, we will have a look back on what happened last week. So we start with the Derby, Gold Oaks and Eclipse. So we will start with the Derby, Serpentine. There's been a lot of...
Serpentine.
So who cares? He won the Derby.
I just
Serpentine.
I'm going to get you to name horses right by the end of your career in vlogging or whatever else we're doing.
Serpentine.
Here. There you go.
I said it just before we came
you
on.
did, and then you said it completely wrong.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't think he's getting the credit he deserves for winning. He won very well. What do you think?
Go on, Tom. You go first.
Yeah, like I told you two privately as well, is I have now become obsessed with times. I straight away, hand on heart, I admit, as soon as I saw it, I said, he's got an easy lead, they've led too far, they haven't started their runs early enough, like it's a joke kind of a thing. And then I looked at who came second and third, and I said, okay, maybe they haven't caught those two either then. So then just dived into the times of it. I've done what a lot of people have done, and they've watched both races next to each other on a screen of the Oaks and the Derby, because Serpentine out in front went at a pretty similar speed to the two leaders in the Oaks, and it's fair to say, you can say whatever you want really about the ones in behind, whether they start their runs early or not, but Serpentine, he didn't get an easy lead. He was going pretty similar pace to the front two in the Oaks, who you would have said, just from watching it, cut their throats and gave themselves no chance. He's got a really good gallop. He's got a breather into him coming down the hill, which was the right place, and then he's kicked on again. He's got a breather into the top of the hill, and then he's letting freewheel down the hill, taking out another few lengths, and he's a horse that stays very well and gallops all the way to the line. He's by Galileo out of a mare that was placed in the Oaks. You know, he's got a really good family. All his half siblings or full siblings even are black type. Like, I don't think we should be crabbing it too much. If I'd put it to you, if Mogul did the same thing, or if English King did the same thing, or if Kamiko did the same thing, we'd be saying they were world beaters. So I think he's a very good horse. I think Kamiko definitely doesn't stay. Maybe the ones in behind could have started their run a little bit earlier, but it wouldn't have made any difference. I just don't think any of them had the ability to catch him, to be honest.
Yeah, I think the fact that they didn't close the gap at all coming down was the fact that if they even did get to him, he would have been the kind of horse that would have found that bit more for a bit of company. It was only his fourth run. He won his maiden by 15 lengths the week before. I think in a way they underestimated him, but as you said, I looked at the times after you said it yesterday, and it does back it up. It's not a fluke. He's a very good horse. He's very good pedigree. I think he won it on merit. And English King is a hype job, by the way. That's the end of that.
Tom, you've gone into the times and all that, so you were discussing the Oaks and that with us privately and the times and all that. On the day, his breeding and all that, like the O'Brien horses, they're bred for the job, so you can't say he wasn't bred to do it. Obviously he's an outsider, Emma McNamara's on him, but if you looked into it a little bit, he would have gave him maybe a little bit of a chance. I think we stated in the video last week, it was kind of an open year, and it reminded me the year that Pourmois won it, and Treasure Beach was second, and I think O'Brien had third that year as well, and they were pretty big prices as well. McNamara gave a good interview after the race. He said Aidan runs all the horses to their merits. He told me how to ride them, and he actually said that he had a chance of winning, and that's what happened. I think people are crabbing it because of the second and third, and I reckon if Kamiko or English King had stayed on and maybe come second, then people would be like, okay, he won it on merit. But to me, I reckon he's a good horse. He was in that maiden that I put up the horse last week, Galileo Chrome, Joseph's horse. He actually probably would have won that maiden, but he got stuck on the rail. He came out then the next day, won his maiden by 9 or 10 lengths, and the horse that was fourth won a maiden, and he's running at Newmarket tomorrow. So if he wins tomorrow, I'll be even more sure that Serpentine is actually a pretty good horse and he's won it on merit.
People like I say most people seen the Oisin Murphy piece he put up on his social media that day. But to me, I reckon if they went after him too early, it's a case of when do you go? Do you use that much petrol to actually get yourself in contention, and will you give yourself enough time to get a breather into him to have another crack at him? That's the dilemma they had. That's the dilemma Oisin had with Kamiko, because they weren't 100% sure if he was going to stay. And look, he finished fourth. He wanted to stay. He was staying on at one pace, so you can't really say he stayed. He kind of came there with a challenge, fell in a hole. That and the rest of them kind of done it as well. So that to me says they went to try catch him. They used too much to get there, and he was never coming back. So I think the best horse in the race on the day won. Either way. That's the way I...
Look, I mentioned last week, I don't think the colts are all that much. The 3-year-old colts are all that much anyway, but he might turn out to be the best of them. I think he won it too far by too many lengths just to be a pacemaker that got away. Because the second and third were just about caught coming towards the line. Another 10, 20 yards, English King and Kamiko were second and third. So to me, he won it by too far. They were getting caught the whole time.
They were, yeah. They just didn't quite get to him. But I mean, if you look at Kamiko as well, his times, like he was getting slower really, towards the end of it. When they were coming down the hill, Tom Marquand copped what was going on. In fairness to him, all the knocking of inexperienced jockey, he saw what was going on and he went out to get him. He kicked on, and that's probably why he finished as close as he did, because he said, right, I'm going after this lad. And then Ron Levine was in third, and then there was a break back, and it was kind of, I think it was so it was Max Vega and then Kamiko, and you could see Oisin Murphy was in two minds: do I go or do I sit? Because he's on a horse that, in the back of his mind, if he's truthful, he probably knows doesn't stay. And he doubted that.
He used up a lot of petrol as well at the start. He was very, very keen for the first couple of furlongs.
Yeah. So he probably didn't want to go after him. And then, like, in fairness to the other lads, once you're that far back then, and once you're in a pack and there's horses in front of you, you can't make a mid-race move. Like, you just can't. You can't get out. Two, you're going to use up too much petrol. English King was finishing one of the fastest of all on his times, and so was Russian Emperor. English King is probably one not to write off. I'd give him another chance. I actually think he's pretty good. Kamiko back down to a mile, I'd be interested in him again. Other than that, and Russian Emperor is the other one. The three of those I'd be interested in. The other than that, they're disappointing. Serpentine, be interested to see what they do if they go to St. Ledger, because they've obviously got
Santiago.
What's the Irish star we were called? Santiago. They've obviously got Santiago who they know stays as well. So I'd love to see the two of them go at it at Doncaster. That would be quite good to see.
He must have won your money, because there's no other reason you would have remembered his name.
Who?
Santiago.
No, because it's a Norman name.
Well, that's fair enough.
It's not some stupid Arab name or some French name. Right. Right, we leave the Oaks till last, because there's a lot to get in on that. Best to last. Eclipse.
Look, I'm eating humble pie here, I may as well say it.
The Denman of the flat, lads. You all grab me.
I'll be the first to say it. I don't think he's the Denman of the flat, but you can mark up the performance. I said he might not win another race this season. Be fair to him, he won it on merit, and I think you can say Enable wasn't fit, and you can give Japan excuses that the Arc is his main target. That race was run into a headwind, so he ran against a headwind on his own the whole way and managed to stay on and win. So I think you can mark up the performance. It was a very good performance, and I was wrong about the horse.
How much do you buy in Enable wasn't fit?
Look, the same with Japan. He needs 2 runs. The Arc is his main target. They're all racing on merit. She probably wasn't fully fit, but like, a race is going to get you a little bit fitter. She was beaten fair and square, in my opinion.
I reckon she was fit enough to win. If she was going to.
Well, she battled well enough to beat Japan, so you know what I mean.
John Gosden said before that he thought she was about 85% fit, and I believe that.
I won't believe a word that comes out of his mouth.
No, I do.
I won't believe a word comes out of his mouth. Stradivarius won't go on the ground. Pisses up in the Gold Cup. Won't believe a word that comes out of his mouth. He done that to cover his hole.
That showed you how bad that race was, but how much class that horse had. But Enable, like, you're never going to have her fully wound up for day one.
Oh, I know, like,
she's not going to be 100% fit.
Look,
but
go on,
she ran very well to come second off, and to do that, I'd imagine she was about 85% fit. So that's why I'm inclined to believe in there.
I know Enable has bucket loads of fans and all that, but I wouldn't be surprised she gets bet a couple of times this year, and she's not as good as she was last year and the year before.
I said that last year.
You know, like, she's a 6-year-old mare. Like, it's a hell of a lot to be expecting her to be like she was. The colts, the younger colts will catch up with her. The younger fillies that are half decent will catch up with her. Like, it's expecting a lot. I'm watching racing 20 odd years. I don't think I've ever seen a Group 1 superstar mare racing at 6 ever.
Like, it comes down to the fact, how many times can you go back to the well? It's only a certain amount of times that she's going to actually want to keep doing this. Even I said last year, to me, she didn't look like the horse she was. I'm not crabbing her. She's probably the best race mare we've ever seen. It's just, I think that spark is gone. I think Enable of 2 years ago would have won the Arc last year, no matter what.
I think they had a bad time with her last year, training wise. I don't think they got a clear run at it, which was obvious from how many times she ran. They're obviously getting a clearer run this time. So I wouldn't write her off just yet. But the thing is, as Dave was saying, she's a 6-year-old mare. She's going to regress at some stage. She can't she's not improving, put it that way. So I think we've seen peak Enable already. I think that was probably 4-year-old Enable. It was peak Enable. But yeah, I think we've seen her at her peak, and she's vulnerable to something to come and beat her. I thought Frankie was interesting though. She definitely wants a mile 4. We should say that race was over a mile 2, but I felt he was a bit further back. I even felt, he gave her every chance to win it. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think he gave her an all or nothing. She has to win today ride.
No, he was kind enough on her. He gave her 1 or 2 smacks and then just kind of pushed her hands and heels. Then the spark is still there. She battled on well to beat Japan, but the winner won on merit. He was very good.
I don't buy the sparkers there. There's something telling me she'll go through with the effort, but she won't go through the effort that she'll go through the pain barrier. I think that's what happened last year. I think the race against Crystal Ocean last year was the beginning of the end.
Look,
I think that took out more than people thought.
Going back to her age, and I know we were having a bit of a buzz on our WhatsApp group about like her being retired and all that if she didn't win, but look, I wouldn't be surprised if she runs in the King George and she's beaten and they call it quits. I wouldn't be surprised at that, to be honest. They'll run her again. She'll run the King George 100%, but I wouldn't be surprised if she's beaten by something and they're like, I don't know if this is best for her anymore.
I can't see her retiring before the Arc. I think if anything comes up, they skip whatever and just go straight to the Arc.
Calla Abdullah will want to go to the Arc, I think. Definitely. They'll give her a run there, and like I'm one of her biggest fans. I was there to see her win her now. She's fantastic. I love her to bits. And I feel like a traitor. I've had 2 bets against her in the Arc now, and I'm happy with both of them, but I haven't backed her. But I'd be happy to see her win, you know. I think Gaia is. I was giving him excuses for some of his runs. He looks more the real deal this year. I think they're able to train him a bit better as well. My only worry with that race, they weren't very well strung out, were they? Where they finished, as in.
Not really, but
Magic One was right up behind him. The rest of them were right up behind him as well. And they finished in a little bit of a heap.
But but then it was. You think of, they were still good horses finishing the heap on top of each other.
They were, yeah. He did get an easy lead. My worry with Gaia, right, is there's an easy way to beat Gaia. You go and get a pace. You get a mile Group 2 horse, and you bomb out the stalls in the Arc. You take him on for the lead. You go a right good gallop, and he's too keen, and you'll get him beat. It's not hard. That will get him beat. I almost guarantee it.
But what impressed me with him on Sunday was he looked like he was going to get beat just before the furlong pole because they were coming at him. But I think he heard him coming and he just kicked on again. He put lengths between himself and the rest of them from the furlong pole to the finishing line on a headwind and on kind of softish ground.
Look, he looked more professional. To be honest, the first day at Newmarket he won that race. He looked like a fella now was out for the first time in 12 weeks of the lockdown, straight to the pub. Didn't even get the bus, put the blinkers on, ran straight, didn't say goodbye to the wife or that, and boom, good luck.
Gone.
And he looked more professional the other day. He actually looked like he knew how to race.
He was like Usain Bolt-esque.
Gone. Door open, gone.
He actually
like Andrew's dog when he sees the door open.
He has no legs according to the group.
He did settle, but he still takes a grip, and I just think like the O'Brien team are going to know that, and I think he's only got one way of running that. So he's not going to drop in and settle all of a sudden. He has to go from the front, and if you put a pacemaker up sides him and just sit on his girth, he'll be too keen and he'll probably run his chance away. To be honest,
that's true. Right, we spent enough time on this. So we're going to talk about Enable again on this. Love winning the Oaks. She's the new queen.
And it was an astonishing performance to win by as far as she did, and probably Tom will go into the times and stuff against the Derby and
look at him buzzing to talk about times. Look at him.
I won't take it from Tom, but I read the few articles that were put up about it as well. But it was just astonishing. She got one smack of the whip. When you look back at the replay and looked the head on, she kind of went in towards the rail. Ryan gave her a smack down the neck. She straightened herself up and ran all the way to the line, hands and heels, winning by 9 or 10 lengths. The horses in behind are good fillies. We stated that Ennis Diamond had a chance each way. She done the form there, turned the form around with Frankly Darling, but she looks to be something special. It was one of them performances where you go, okay, I can't not follow this horse now until she gets beaten. She lost a few races. I was reading the Racing Post thing, you know, underneath the horses, and they were saying about her. She lost a few races last year, so she's not invincible that you wade in straight away and back her. But she is now. The way she won that race, you can't not back her. She's the right favourite for the Arc. The 3-year-old fillies have an unreal record in it. They get so many allowances from the colts, from the older horses. She stays. The only question I had last week with her, I really love her. See what I did there?
Well played.
But I was worried about her staying with her mammy being a 6 furlong horse, kind of 6 furlong to a mile. But Galileo, he's just a superstar. And you know what? Like all the O'Brien horses, she's so professional. She doesn't act up, she doesn't sweat up, she doesn't pull hard. She was half asleep coming around Tattenham Corner.
Oh, yeah.
Ryan shook her up, back on the bridle, and good boy.
I think she wins the Arc. As bullish and bold as sounds, the weight she's going to get. Like, that was one of the most impressive flat performances I've ever seen. She was so far back, and in a matter of strides, she was bombing past horses, and she was not stopping when she hit the line. She is a monster, and she's big and strong as well. She's not a bit of a thing. She's a proper brood mare. She's going to take some whacking to beat in the Arc.
Yeah, Dave, in fairness, you were putting her up all year, and you really fancied her for the Guineas.
For a second. Now, this is your chance. You've been crabbing someone was given out to you about putting up love in the previous video.
An Alpine Star.
I just listened to this the whole time, so just get off your chest.
I got it before you go, Tom. We done a 3 horses to follow video a good while back when lockdown was on, and Joshua Stacey, the racing Josh was on it, and you had a laugh about it then as well.
Me?
But the robot commentator took the absolute piss out of me for putting up Love as one of my horses, and I put up Mum's Tipple, who was being useless, and then I put up Alpine Star, who was clearly a decent horse as well. Now that robot commentator come back on if he wants and show us the horses he put up. And then Joshua Stacey came on and had a right little giggle as well about Love being put up. So you can all go back in your box now for that.
Tom, take it away. Follow that.
Well, I was going to link him if you put her up, and I wasn't sure. I said before the Oaks that I fancied Dennis Diamond because she was the one I'd been following for, and I thought she could. Reverse the form of frankly Darley. She did that, and I said I don't know if she could beat Love. Nothing against Love. Well, I'm fully on the Love train now, Dave. But
I think everybody is now.
This is getting catchy now.
It takes a performance like you've never seen ever for a horse, for the 3 of us to agree on a horse.
Yeah.
She was unbelievable, right? And then what brings into... I thought she was very, very good. And I said, well, she's very good. And then after, when we got into all the times and comparing it to the Derby, she would have been 13 lengths behind Serpentine at one stage, right? 13 lengths. And she would have beaten him by 2 lengths. That is just insane. Because we know Serpentine went a proper gallop. We know he didn't. He was still accelerating coming to the line, just not as much as others, and that he was for other bits of the race. He wasn't stopping, and she would have got to beat him by 2 lengths. In her race, she'd nothing to challenge her. She got one little flick behind the saddle, and that was it. It was just a monster performance. And Andrew, you said you fancy her for the Arc. I think she's a certainty. I think she's an absolute stone cold moral certainty.
I think
you look at the Arc.
Go on.
I was just going to say, you look at the Arc market, right? She's the favourite. She's 7-2. Enable the second favourite. Gaia is third favourite. And then you're into SAS, Logician, Japan, Mishriff, Stradivarius, those type of horses, right? Not one of those is a superstar. And this is the fact that gets me in the Arc. She carries 8 stone 9 in the Arc. Gaia carries 9 stone 5. That's £10. Yeah. Gaia has to give her £10. Enable carries 9 stone 2. So she's to give her £7. How in the name of God is anything going to give her a weight and beat her?
There's not a single thing going to be able to beat her. You could stick the 3 of us on top of her and she'd still win. Like there's this whole, the racing, what would you call them? Traditionalists, whatever you want to call them. Oh, she has to go for the Ledger now. She has to go for the Triple Crown. Bollocks! Skip that.
There's not a chance she'll go for the Ledger.
Skip that.
They've got Santiago stays at mile 6. They've got Serpentine who wants a mile 6 or 2 miles, I imagine. There's not a chance she's going to go
for that. Mickey Mouse race. Why would you go for that?
You know the thing about...
She's steering job for the Arc.
The thing about Ballydoyle as well, right? In the last 20 years, there's probably... the majority of people, let's be honest, prefer jump race. But there's a few names you think about flat racing and everybody knows. They know Frankel, they know See the Stars, you know Enable now, you might know Trev.
Make good.
Not make good.
He win next week.
Ballydoyle have an operation up there and are constantly churning out horses that they're trying to make the new superstar. And like have a name that like 30 years time you'll still be talking about the horse. And they're trying to get a Colt to do it. They thought they had it in Camelot, then he didn't win the Triple Crown, and Camelot was a good horse, but he's probably beaten Rags as well at the time. They actually have the horse now. They probably didn't want it to be a filly, but they have an absolute superstar.
I really think they do as well. And I'm not normally one to go overboard about horses, but I think as well some of it, I was talking to a friend of mine, and I love the Arc as well. I'm lucky enough to have been there. There's the final race of the year. It's all the generations against each other. It's the European horses, it's the Irish horses, it's the English horses. It's the best of the best over a mile and a half. It's such a good race. But there is nothing going to give her weight at beating. She also, you can ride her any way you want. You can drop her in. You can ride her up the pace. She's not keen. She quickens. She stays. She's the perfect horse.
And I guarantee you, Tom, right? They're going to run Magical against the Naval and the Colts in the King George. He said already he's going to ride Magical in the King George. They know well and truly up there how much better Love is than Magical. And she'll run against the Naval, and Magical's definitely trained on better. She's a better horse. Whether she wins, loses, beaten 2 lengths or whatever, they have a right good form line. So they know what they have up there.
They do, and they like her as well, because I was getting told by 2 lads actually to be backing her before the Guineas, and she was the one from miles off. They were telling me, Love is the one. Did I listen to them? No. But usually I've had a decent enough bet on her for the Arc. She's mainly 7-2 now. Yeah. I just can't see anything in the world giving her weight, lads.
Yeah, I think I'll start chipping away at her now every week. She's a certainty. That's the first time I think I've ever heard you say a certainty for a horse this far out.
I don't get excited by horses like that. I really think, I just don't see what's in that race to give her £10 or to give her £7. I just can't see it at all. But this is the thing as well. I think Ennis Diamond is a Group 1 filly.
Oh, she's very good.
Like, I think she's really good. I think Frankie Darling is really good. This thing just demolished them.
Like, even if you look back at the race, the move that Ennis Diamond made halfway through the race to chase the leader, like, you thought she was going to go and win the race, and then Love just came out of nowhere.
It's hard to know how they'll split them and the race they'll go to, but like, yeah, I'd be fairly sure Ennis Diamond would win a Grade 1 by the end of the year.
Yeah. She could be a filly. Would she be a filly for the Breeders' Cup, maybe?
Yeah, probably.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, she probably would be.
Yeah, that's where I might take her, and I might take Love to the Arc instead.
Yeah. Jeez, we spent 30 minutes talking about 3 races there. Do we even have...
But that, yeah, like, they were... We haven't had racing like that since the lockdown. Talking points like that in all 3 races. Like, it's the best weekend of racing in a long, long time.
What we talked about in the last 30 minutes ago, absolutely more exciting than what we're going to talk about in the next 20.
You put a chase in here, and I went through it, and I gave up. I don't even have a selection. There's a hole in every single horse.
I don't either. I'm not picking a horse for it.
I have one.
Good for you. I don't.
I have the winner.
I'll back
you
can do
you
it.
pick the winner.
I do it. I'm not talking about. Right, the race they're on about is the Summer Plate and Marker Racing. Bags Grove wins this. Hands down, easy. Job done. He's gone. Before the end of the race, he was off 153. He's back down to 147. He's carrying Lemonstone 9. He's carried before. He won a race last year. He beat Thomas Campbell by 9 lengths off 151. He's back down to 147. He wins. He's 8-1. There you go.
I'll back him. So
hang on. I'm just looking at what was wrong with him. What's positive for him is Harry Fry had a winner and a third today. Looks like he started off the season. He's moved yards. He had a bad year the last year or two. He could be in for a good year. Bags Groove.
And he's had wind surgery.
Yeah, no, Bag's Groove is fine. There was another yak of a thing. Drumcliff, his other horse, bleeds. I was half thinking of backing him, and then he
disgust on his
bleeds.
face.
Oh, it takes a lot for you to really slay the horse. So
Yeah,
he must have done you.
bleeds.
He must have done you a bad turn.
That Lockberg Spirit is a fucking horrible horse as well.
How was that fair?
Yeah, how was that
Like, he's
famous?
just a horrible horse. He could go and bolt up in this, but he's a horrible horse, and I would never back him. Unless he was a decent price and we got a bit of value about him, obviously. But
And also with Bag's Grooves, he's won first time out the last 2 years in a row.
yeah, pick a Sean Bowen as well. I wouldn't knock him. Yeah, look, there was a few you could give a chance to, but there's holes in a lot of them.
Ah, look, I gave you the winner. Be thankful. That's so
Yeah.
gonna come last now, isn't it? Yeah. Right, we'll touch on tomorrow because this is going to go up. Well, it's Wednesday at what time is it now? 8:40. So this is going to go up by 10 o'clock tonight. So the Dante is on tomorrow. 2 miles. 2 miles. Great. Group 2 over a mile, 2.5 furlongs. What do you make of this? Because I looked at it and I just went, I don't like this at all. If I was nailed down Aidan O'Brien horse that beat Russian Emperor last time out at Leopardstown.
The favourite is a nice horse, Sir Michael Stout's highest ground. But I probably back Cormorant as well. I won't really say much on it.
Yeah, no opinion really, to be honest. It's favour is too short for me to be interested. There's only 6 runners.
Yeah. It's a yacht
Yeah.
race.
The way it's fallen,
I
it's
thought
kind of a forgotten race because it's usually on before the Derby, so it's
There's-
kind of
there's-
forgotten.
There's
horse.
nothing decent
Yeah,
in it.
yeah.
It's a watch, 100% a watch race. Same.
He looks good, the favourite last day, and he's the most likely winner. But I'm not backing him a 4 to 5. He can win.
Yeah, he
4 to 1.
beat Walconic, who I thought was going to be very good. Was turned out to be, well, not as of now bang average.
Ah, well, to be fair, Mishra bet him and he's won the French Derby, so he's not bang average. He's just not
He's
as good
back.
as he looked.
Yeah, true. Same day, 2:40 in York, the Musadoro over the same trip. Any opinions on this?
Literally no opinion on it.
No, I didn't realise we were looking at first day racing, so I have not looked. Apart from I had a quick look at that one earlier.
Albafora won first time out, won it quite well. She's about 8-10 to 1, I think. I watched the race back just before we came on. Yeah, she interests me. Well, hold up, I get price here. 12 to 1. Rave Beckett, Harry Bentley's on. She's been backed actually from 20s into 12s. She'd interest me.
Ah, nice
That's
each way price.
Huh?
Rosetta, I can't believe Rosetta is only rated 89. Like, they should be running that in handicap. She's only been beaten what she's beaten by just enough, you know.
Yeah.
She looks green. She's only ever just done enough. She may find it a bit tougher against this lot. She needs to wisen up a little bit, but they obviously think a lot of her. She's in this off of 89, like she'd bolt up in a handicap off of 89.
You must think a bit of her then if they're throwing her in here. Or just running out of time with the racing left.
Yeah,
Like the black type.
you know, it's Group 3. There aren't that many fillies Group 3s, you know, for 3-year-olds, so throw into it, but yeah.
Right,
She's probably the most likely winner.
We promise it gets better, don't worry. That's tomorrow out of the way. We weren't really enthusiastic about that before we're even talking about it. Now, we go to Friday and Newmarket, the July course. The Duchess of Cambridge over 6 furlongs. You're going to have a good opinion on this because you like Dandala, who you backed at Royal Ascot, who absolutely hacked up by 6 sets in the Albany.
Yeah, look, before Tom came on, we were talking about it. You actually said about her running. The 2-year-old form can be hard to equate. They can beat a horse one day and then the form turns around the next day as they're growing throughout the year. But she won that race so easily. I think she's very good. The stable has had some decent fillies through the years. They had Quite Reflection, they had Lawrence, and they've been talking her up as basically similar to Lawrence with a little bit more speed. She has a bit of a turn of foot, which she showed at Ascot. She travelled really well. She got a smack of the whip and she was away. So I'd be majorly surprised if she's bet, to be honest.
Do you give More Beautiful another chance after she bombed out in the Queen Mary? She's stepping up an extra furlong as well. Do you think that'll help her, Tom?
Yeah, it might do. She kind of ran. She was so good on debut, and then she kind of ran just too bad to be true at Ascot. So yeah, look, I'm happy to give her another chance. I'll overlook her. I thought Dandala was obviously very, very good at Royal Ascot, wasn't she? She won very impressively there. The thing I had, Mother Earth has come out and won. Who was behind her? She bolted up in a Group 3. Maiden form, I know we're stretching a little bit. Maiden form isn't that great. The only thing that you can look from that as well is Undertake, the third horse, was 7.25 lengths behind her, and she finished even 6.25 lengths behind Timescale. So if you take a line literally through that horse, there's not a lot between Timescale and Dandala. Timescale was very good in the listed race at Newmarket last time. This is a kind of race that I'm going to have a bet in this one. There's a few down the bottom I don't give any kind of a chance to. They're either maidens or they've won poor maidens. The top couple in the market I think could be very good. I wouldn't be surprised if they bolted up or if they were miles clear of the rest. Wouldn't be surprised if More Beautiful came back to her best either. The one I'm going to go with, though, is Hala Hala Hala, Kevin Ryan's horse. Not just because I like the name, but I do like the name.
What's the name again?
Hala Hala Hala.
Just wanted to hear it again.
Hala Hala Hala. Like that, you know.
That was good, Tom.
You on the wine again?
That was quite good, yeah. Bolted up and maiden at first. The third horse in that race runs in a listed race at Newmarket tomorrow. She's called Miss Nay Never. So keep an eye on that one for Frank of the Form. But I'd say this one's pretty good. Frankie's booked, and she is currently 14-1. I think that's a pretty juicy each way price. By Exceed Excel, and guess what her name is? Guess what her dam's name is?
Hala Hala Halas.
Hala Hala. So
Hala Hala.
Hala 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 is out of Hala Hala.
That's amazing.
2020 just gets fucking more weird.
Stop the word, I want to get off.
Fucking Kubo back Paloma Blue yesterday.
Shame on you, Kubo.
That's shameful, like. Shameful.
I didn't even back it.
You finally gave up on it.
That's because Peregrine Run is...
Oh my god, he's one of the biggest pigs ever.
Hey, we're going to name and shame now. Dan Starkey in that group has a bet on Pentland Hills.
I know.
And he's trying to convince the thing is good. It's a yak.
And he's not even running next year.
It needs to be running ramming thing over one furlong.
Paloma Blue is worse. Kubo's an embarrassment for that now.
Yeah, look, she's got a good pedigree, that filly, as well. As I said, yeah, by Exceed and Excel, the dam wasn't too bad. The dam's family isn't too bad, and yeah, I'd give her a chance. I'd say she's pretty sharpish, and 14-1 each way for me. I'll take that. Kevin Ryan's in pretty decent form as well.
Yeah, that's not bad. I won't have a bet. Genuinely won't have a bet, but I'd gunt ahead Dandala. I don't even point asking you. You're Dandala.
Oh, I'm Dandala all day.
Yeah. Thomas Hala Hala Hala.
Hala Hala Hala.
I hope he wins just so we can do that next week. Right.
I'll open with that next week if she wins.
Hala Hala. Right, onto the stick of the same day, same track. 4:10, the Group 1 Tatterstalls Format Stakes. Trebellum Even Money, Magic 1, 92, One Master 92, Nasri 5s, and 12-1 Bigger Arrest. I find it very interesting that Pierre Charles Boudot is coming over to ride One Master. What do you think?
7 furlongs. Told you. The only race she'll win is the race on Arc Day, the Prix de la Forêt. I know the ground is in her favour, it still won't matter. She don't stay in mile.
She does.
I'm going to back Magic Wand.
Yeah, that's what. The only thing that put me off Magic Wand was she ran on Sunday.
You know what? She'll run about 25 times this year.
But then I looked
as tough as that.
But then I looked her father's Galileo. They just love racing.
She'll run loads of times, and she's as tough as that. She'll win an old race. She'll pop up and win a race here or there. I'm going to give her a chance.
Yeah.
In a fillies race where she's not running against colts, she has a chance.
But is Trebellin's form good enough? Second to Circus Max with the Queen Anne to win this, Tom?
Yeah, I think that's pretty good form. And yeah, I wouldn't knock him. I wouldn't knock him at all. Or her even, is it? Her, sorry.
They're all fillies.
Yeah, I wouldn't knock her. I wouldn't knock her at all. Yeah.
I wouldn't go near her.
That's a very good run. What's that?
I wouldn't go near her at even money.
No, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, I mean, like that form behind Circus Maximus is proper Group 1 form. He's a very solid Group 1 performer. Probably is the most likely winner of this. But yeah, I wouldn't touch it at 5-4. Sadly, there's only 7 runners here. Not to get stuck into some each way, because I'd love that here. My selection will be One Master. I agree with Dave that I think she's probably best with a little bit of cutting the ground over 7 furlongs, normally at Longchamp. But I looked down through her form then. She's been placed in 2 Group 1s over a mile. Yeah. Second beating a neck and third beating a length. And as we said, yeah, Pierre-Charles Boudot is over to ride, which takes the eye in these times. And yeah, I'd take a chance. 9-2 versus 5-4. They're probably a bit too far apart in the market for me.
Yeah, I'd be the same. I'd take a chance on One Master. Going on the ground, like she ran over, was it 6 furlongs last time at Ascot? That's going to have a spot on for this, and the fact that Pierre-Charles Boudot is coming over just cemented that she's going to be my selection in this.
Magic Wand.
Yeah, I'll go One Master as well.
Yeah, 2 for One Master and 1 for Magic Wand. Right, last one we're going to talk about today is the Darley July Stakes on Saturday. I'll just get the bet in 2 seconds. Group 1 over 6 furlongs, probably the race of the weekend. You have Golden Horde at 5-2. These are Paddy Power prices, by the way. Skeptical Trees, Hello Yunzane at 5s. Cadian at 7s. And 8-1, Bigger the rest. 2 Royal Ascot winners, Royal Ascot placed. To me, the most interesting race of the weekend. What do you make of it?
I said in the Ascot video, the winner of the Commonwealth Cup will probably come out and win this race. Tom tipped him up in that video at 10-1 Golden Horde. Since the Commonwealth Cup came out, and a lot of times 3-year-olds win this race. I don't think any of the older horses, I like Skeptical, Hella Yumzen's a nice horse, I don't think any of them can give a 3-year-old at this time of year £6. If the ground is heavy, obviously that brings that into it, but the only 2 I'd be interested in are Golden Horde. I think he's the most likely winner, and I'd like maybe Tret each way, dropping back in Trip. He travelled really nice in the St James's Palace, and again he's a 3-year-old, so he's getting £6. I don't think any of the older horses will be able to give the 3-year-old £6.
Tom?
Yeah, it is a lot of weight to give them. And Golden Horde, like, I loved his 2-year-old back form as well, and he was very good. He was very good at Royal Ascot in the Commonwealth Cup. It's going to be hard to give him. It's going to be hard to give him £6, I imagine. The one. But then you bring Price into it. He's only 2-1. I'm not really interested in backing him at that. If I was going to have a bet in the race, I would give Skeptical another chance at 4-1. I just think that he was in front half a furlong out at Royal Ascot, and you know, Frankie said if you could have the ride back, he'd win on him. And I thought he was talking for his hat, to be honest. I went back and watched the race 2 or 3 times today, and the more I watch it, if he'd held on to him for another second, I think maybe he would have. I think the horse wants he'll stay 6 furlongs on an easiest track on good ground. I think 5 furlongs on good to soft ground is where you might see the best of this horse. I'm really looking forward to hoping they go for the Abbey on Arc Weekend. I'd love to see him in that. I think that would be the race for him. But look, just at the prices, I'll have him bang there. I'd have him definitely in the first 3, 4. And if there's a horse in the race other than the 3-year-olds that's still improving, it's him. So
yeah,
he's my selection each way.
Yeah, I go the same with Skeptical. Even the same thing with as you said, Frankie said he'd love to have the ride back and he would have won on him. I'd be inclined to think the same. I think he hit the front too early. He used up that half a bit too much of petrol when he kicked. If he held on to him just after the half furlong pole and delivered him on the line, I think he would have won. I think people are still crabbing, I think, just because of his price tag still. But he's a very, very talented sprinter who's only going to get better. That was only his second run on turf, and I think there's a lot more to come from him, and especially with Frankie having the experience on him now, I think you're going to see a different performance, and I think he definitely will reverse placings with Hello Ewan's aim as well. But whether he can give £6 to Golden Horde, who was very impressive at Ascot, is another thing. But I'd be willing to take the chance that he can.
I'm going to do a combination tricast: Golden Horde, Threat, and Skeptical. They're the 3 horses that have the most progression to make, and it's the same every year in this race. It's horses that are progressing end up winning.
Yeah, you go. Yeah, you go.
Yeah, look, Golden Horde would be hard to beat, giving him £6. But, it is his first time in a Group 1 against older horses. So, yeah.
My selection is definitely Skeptical.
We're doing naps and all that.
Yeah, we're doing another thing. Just chill, by, will you?
Yeah.
You're so hungry.
I have a good one. No, I have a good nap.
Okay. Tomorrow. Okay.
Oh.
Right. Nap's the next best time. Let's go. I'll take your time, bye. Take your time.
Swiss Ace tomorrow.
Where and what time?
Aidan O'Brien, sprinter in the Newmarket in the July Stakes, and he's going against 2 decent horses, Kadar and Tactical, who I like, but I'm going to take a chance on him. He's 5-1. Not take a chance. I think he's very good. He's a king. He's a king when cold.
Do well to be Tactical.
He's related to all those good sprinters, Swiss Spirit and Swiss Diva and all that's been around the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So he's my nap.
Tom.
My nap would be, out of the ones we've spoken about, I think Hala each way is definitely is the biggest overpriced one at 14-1.
My nap would be Dandala in the Duchess of Cambridge on Friday at Newmarket.
My next best is Dandala, leading on from that then.
Okay. Tom?
My next best runs, you're going to love this one, runs at
Dundalk.
Navan.
No?
Runs at Navan tomorrow in the 140 in a 50-80 handicap. A horse called Dare to Flare, Andy Slattery's, broke really badly last time out, was pushed way too wide, had no right to finish anywhere near them. The horse of Johnny Mertens that won it is very good. He stayed on, he ran around the place. He just got a little bit tired, then back down to a mile, goes on ground with a bit of cutting it, the blinkers are back on, 12-1. Have a cut at him, lads. I fancy him.
He's as short as 8-1 with Paddy Power. Money's coming.
Yeah.
That's a good shout, Tom.
My next best is Bags Grove in the Summer Plate. Bit of jump action, get in there.
Can we talk about? I just want to mention one more horse is The French Derby at the weekend. We should probably talk about both those races actually, because the French Oaks are a fucking disgrace.
What? You broke up there. Say that again.
I'm hungry and I have to pee as well.
Yeah, he's killing me. Go on.
The two races in France at the weekend, the French Derby and the French Oaks. What I actually said was the French Oaks was a fucking disgrace.
Wow.
You don't often curse, Tom.
No, that's wow.
Maybe pocket talking.
Right.
But I said in the group straight away afterwards, I don't think that was Shamie Heffernan's best moment by a long way. He got his ban before in the race before, and he was coming there on peaceful. She was hanging in. He hit her a tap. He hit her a couple of taps, and he put his stick down. But I don't even think he drove her out as forceful as Shamie could. I think she definitely should have won that race.
He's not happy, is he? Oh, he's not happy.
And what about the French Derby?
French Derby. Victor Ledorum is a machine. I love him. Missed the break, was out the back. He passed the whole field in the straight, basically, to get up there and challenge. On a horse that was questionable to stay the mile 2 anyway. To use all of your energy to come from the back like that in one big swoop. Nothing else came from the back. I'm not too clued up on the French calendar, what he'd go for next, but do not lose faith in that horse. Back down to a mile, there's not a lot to beat him in France.
Yeah, he's very good. I like him myself. Also, we may as well mention that Pinatubo is...
Pinatubo?
Yeah, sorry, Pinatubo.
Pinatubo, no?
It's so many names, what do we call him?
Pinatubo.
Pinatubo, we call him Pinatubo. He's running on Saturday as well. Back down to 7 furlongs, should win in France.
He should, because Artlight was taken out, so he's definitely better than the horses that are in the race.
Yeah.
Prix Prat.
Prix Prat. I reckon Victor Ledorum will be in the mile race at Deauville. I can't think of the name of it, but it's
the Prix de la Putti.
I think it's 2 or 3 weeks from now. It's a mile race at Deauville anyway.
Just think, the only angle with him is like if the market overlooks him because they think, oh, he got beat now and he's not that good. Trust me, back over a mile, he's very good.
Yeah, he's a very good horse. I'd back him 100% back down to a mile. 100%. Now, on that note, my back is in absolute ribbons here. I swear to God.
It's old age. Tom knows.
I still can't believe it all.
So last time I do a quiz with the two of you as well.
Do you know what you do, right? If you're after watching to this point, write in the comments who you think is the oldest out of the three of us. We won't tell you. Just write in the comments.
I think you all know. Anyway, right, that's us done for another week. Comment below with Tom's age and who you think is going to win the weekend. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next week.